Hi, folks. We're live. It is Thursday. No, it's Friday, the 17th of January. We are here with Larry, and he's got some news, and he's going to start where. Let's hold off on saying thank you, Larry, until we get a few more people in. It takes a while for everybody to hear, and we have two people in the chat, but only one showing up so far. And once we get a few more people, then we'll let them know what you are grateful for. With the time delay, it takes a few.
Yeah.
We've got three people in the chat right now. Donald says, just looking at Mitch bothers me.
It should.
Yeah, it should.
Let me clear up something while we wait. They're attacking President Trump for saying that no one was injured in the attack on El Habad Air Base, however you pronounce that base in Iraq, when in fact 11 troops were hurt. So once again, they're making it out as though he lied. That is not the case, folks. What happened was, when the attack occurred, there is a protocol that if any of the soldiers suffer headaches, mild headaches or serious headaches, they are sent into a trauma center to be checked for concussions. And anybody that knows anything about concussions know that they sometimes are delayed in showing up. So any flesh wound type wounds, shrapnel wounds, broken bones, those type of wounds, no, there were none. And that was the early report that the president got. They just found out yesterday, or day before yesterday actually, that 11 of the soldiers were transferred to be treated for concussions. But there's no way the president could have known that at the time the announcement was made. So once again, they make it out to be something that it's not.
Yeah, this person says if President Trump lies even about a hangnail, they're going to use it to try and run him out of office.
Right.
Pam says, I can't believe how uninformed some people are, saying Trump will take this or that state, not realizing he needs to get out of this trial in the Senate first before he can even think to do any of that.
Now, another thing that has come up, Monday is the protest in Virginia. The governor has passed a law making it illegal for anybody that goes to the rally on Capitol grounds to be carrying a firearm. So folks, please don't go armed to that rally. Please don't. Now, he did it under the premises that there were 3 neo-Nazis that they have arrested and put in jail that were planning to go and to cause trouble, even kill people. None of that's been proven. None of it. It's just what he used as an excuse to make sure that they could see to it that nobody can carry firearms on the Capitol grounds. So, to those that plan to attend the rally, I support you for attending, defending the Second Amendment. protesting what that governor has done. But do not go armed to that rally. Please do not. You will get in serious, serious trouble if you do. And by the way, it is within the purview of the governor to be able to make such a demand, as long as he's got adequate excuse and the neo-Nazi trick suffices as an excuse. So he's grounded in what he's doing. I think we all should also thank the 70 or 80 county sheriffs and police chiefs that have declared their communities, their counties, their cities safe zones for firearms. So we need to appreciate those people for the courage they have shown standing up for the Second Amendment.
Yeah, if you live in Virginia, make sure you call, if you live in one of those counties, make sure you call your sheriff's office and say thank you. You've got to be vocal when they do the right thing, just like we are going to be vocal when they don't.
So,
yeah, when I called the White House last week, they were surprised at what I had to say, but so pleased. I was surprised that they were so surprised. They must get an awful lot of negative calls.
They do. As of last week, negative calls to the White House were running 3 and 4 to 1 over positive phone calls.
Wow.
But that can be explained by the fact that on the other side, the Antifas and the liberal groups, the abortion groups, the whole bunch, they've got many different activist groups that they've got working in concert. We don't. We don't. Not to mention the fact that our side historically, typically, are not the people that call and throw fits, protest in the streets, etc. So if it's a measure of who makes the most noise, they win. Right now, they win. We're fixing to change that.
And our side as well is so narrow-minded that if we don't agree perfectly on everything, they're going to nitpick against one another, and the division among us is horrendous. Denise asks if you have an idea on how to start a petition to make her county a Second Amendment sanctuary.
No, what you need to do, Denise, is literally go talk to your county sheriff. Call, make an appointment, and go and sit down and talk to him or her. Make the request in person and be ready to justify your request. Guys, a lot of county sheriffs do not realize the power they have. Now, in many states, state legislatures are going around and removing much of the power from the county sheriff. They're working to strip them of these awesome powers. But if they haven't yet, where you live, talk to your county sheriff, inform them what they're capable of. And believe it or not, Denise, all of you, it's their duty. It is their duty to support and defend the Constitution of the United States, to which the Second Amendment is a part.
Edward says that
they need to be reminded of that. I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, Edward says Antifa is bussing in. Richmond is a mix and a funnel opportunity like Charlottesville on steroids. They will infiltrate and instigate, look like make protesters to kick things off. Or pro Second Amendment. Yep. Yeah, you've already talked about that as a possibility. You mentioned that at least a month ago when we first started hearing about this. You said that's what they would do. And you warned it wasn't necessarily Virginia with this Richmond protest, but you had mentioned several months ago that Antifa already had plans that you had proof of that they were going to dress like us in order to stir up trouble.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is their George Soros mission. When I say George Soros mission, I say that because he is funding the different groups to try to break different rallies into violence.
Donald is wondering why these outside groups should care about what Virginia citizens issue. It's not theirs. Well, because it sets precedent that can be used against the rest of the country. Rachel is asking if UN troops in Cuba are beginning to mobilize.
Not yet. They won't until after they win. They will not mobilize until after they win.
Until what win?
Until they beat Trump and put their people in. By the way, today for the first time, I heard on one of, I think it was one of Fox's commentators or whatever, for the first time, I heard somebody refer to the fact that the Democrats are licking their lips, Pelosi's licking her lips, that they now, with this Perlas guy, they now are going to be able to get Trump and Pence, and therefore she'll be president. So at least now, folks, people other than us are starting to connect the dots. Now, I personally don't believe she may be licking her chops thinking that's a possibility. I personally don't believe it because I don't believe it'll happen that fast. I think the best chance will be to defeat him. I don't think they'll be able to remove he and Pence prior to the election totally. If they do remove them, it would be for just a short period of time. But whether she's president for a month or 6 months, she would still be made president, and that's bad. That's very bad.
Yeah.
Now, have we got all the folks here?
We've got over 100 now.
All right, folks. I want to say thank you to the person that a week or so ago sent in a question. You know, I was talking about Schiff, Nadler, those people testifying, and the fact that they will probably say they can't be forced to testify because they're managers. And one of you, I can't remember who you were, sent in an idea. What about their staff? Could their staffers be subpoenaed? And the answer, of course, is yes. Well, I'm here to tell that person, say to that person and to all of you, thank you very much, because none of the people involved in the defense of the president had anywhere near thought of something like that, but now they know and plan to use it if necessary. And that's a great tribute to this audience, for y'all to be able to see that you have actual impact in this trial.
Rachel is asking, can't they plead the fifth?
They can plead the fifth, but they won't have to plead the fifth as near as we can figure. They're going to go for the fact that they can't be forced to testify since they are managers.
No. She's asking, can the staff plead the fifth?
Cannot, should not be. They may try, but we have run tests of it and have not been able to find any premises by which they could pull that off. So they can try it, but I don't think there's any footing for such a move. But now remember, just because there's no legitimate footing doesn't mean these creeps will not do something like that, or at least try something like that.
We've got a couple other questions.
Go ahead. It's Friday, so go ahead with your questions.
Yeah. What your comment on the Pelosi pens that she signed everything with, the pens that look like a bullet with a gold embossed name, her name embossed in gold on the side.
What about it?
Somebody just asked your comment on that.
Well, it goes along with the other lies they've told about all of this. They talk of this being such a somber event, that this is such a painful thing for them to go through. And yet they turn around and emboss the pens and, make them souvenirs. I mean, come on. It's just more lies. They are jumping up and down with joy that they pulled this off. And listen, guys, you've got to give the devil his due on occasion. I mean, you have to realize what the Democrats have done. They have actually impeached the president for nothing. For nothing. They've actually created articles of impeachment that do not show any crime committed, any statute, any judicial federal order broken. By all that's holy, they can't do what they've done, yet they have done it. So give them credit for that. They have pulled off quite a coup. And then look at what they're doing. They're applying pressure to the Senate in many, many ways. They are serving up to those senators, Republican senators primarily, that hate Trump's guts. They're serving them up the ammunition they need to out the president. I was in a discussion this morning early, and we were counting votes. And we were counting the 51 senator votes, issues that come up where it takes 51 is all it takes to pass or not pass something. And then this morning, we dealt with the 67. Now, folks, there are 47 Democrats in the Senate, 47. It takes 67 to vote the president out of office. So where people are being deceived is they're saying, look, there's no way they can get those 20 Republicans to vote to throw the president out. Let's count like we did this morning. There are 5 that, for all practical purposes, we can count 2 vote him out. Of course, that's the Murkowski, that crew.
I know Murkowski from Alaska, Collins from Maine, Romney from Utah. I don't know who the other 2 are.
There are 2 others I can't place them. Bennett Alexander is one.
Because he's leaving, and he's an
and I think I can't remember the other one, but Alexander was one this morning. So anyway, there are 5. So now we're down to 15. 15 Republicans flipping, and he's out of office. Now, how many don't have to run this term, this election cycle?
Well, 23 do. That means out of the 51, that's 27, 28, 29 don't.
All right. We came up with a little different number, but about that. So now think about it. 25 don't.
Yeah.
That's 25, 28 don't have to run this cycle. 25 don't have to run this cycle. Now, what does that mean? That means that if they get rid of Trump, then the election, they believe, will be finished. A Democrat will win. It will be virtually impossible by the time they would vote Trump out, even if it's in a couple of weeks. There's virtually not enough time for the Republicans to pick a replacement candidate and to mount a campaign. Not enough time. Plus, they think that the American people on our side, if Trump is outed, they think we will be so distraught that we'll just give up. That's what they think. They think we'll give up. And remember, they're not playing like normal. They're not playing the game that would normally be played in our election cycles. In a normal election cycle, you can pull a dirty trick like flip, throw Trump out, and by the next election cycle, guess what? People will have forgotten about it. They'll be on to something else. Something else will have happened. There'll be another 9/11. There'll be some major event, and it'll be forgotten. That's normal. But they're not playing that this time. That's not what they're doing. This time, if they out-Trump and they take the presidency and the Senate, which they believe will drag through, don't worry about it. There won't be another election. Our form of government will have changed in the next 2 years. That's what all this is about. Never lose sight of what this is about. This is not about an election cycle. This is not about an election as usual. This is about the overthrow of our representative republic constitutional form of government. They're going to get rid of it. It'll be swift. They will put us in submission. And before we know it, it'll be over. Over. That's why I'm doing something I've done a few times in my life. But I'm doing it again. Ladies and gentlemen, I pledge my life, my every breath, my being, my everything to protecting this country. I will not lay idly by and let them take it from us. I won't. If people want to go with me and help and believe as I do and are willing to do whatever is needed to be done, then fine. But if nobody is willing to go and help, then I'll go on my own. I will not let them take my country. I will not. And these are not just plucked up words. This is not just some statement, beating my chest and talking tough and all of that stuff. That's not what this is. This is the truth. I will not let it happen. I'm not claiming some false sense of bravado. I'm not claiming that at all. I'm not claiming any powers at all. I'm simply stating the fact. I will not sit idly by and let my country be destroyed. I will not. What about you? What about every one of you? This is going to get messy. It is. Every day I see it getting closer and closer to coming to fruition. Every day I see more and more what they have planned. And every day I see that these plans that we're just now starting to see They haven't been developed just in recent days. They've been planning this for a long time. And one of the reasons they're so gleeful about what's going on is because they're seeing milestones being achieved in their plan. And that's emboldening them. That's empowering them. They believe it's happening. They really do. Be ready. We will stand and we will defend this nation. You know, when Pelosi was making those quotes from when the Declaration of Independence was signed in the Constitution, and for example, she said Ben Franklin made the famous quote when asked what happened. He said, "You got a republic if you can keep it." Well, they failed to mention another quote, a very serious quote. You know, I won't quote it verbatim, but I can get pretty close. Whenever our government becomes tyrannical, it is incumbent on us to overthrow it. Remember that one?
Yep.
Now, would somebody look up the definition? Well, I guess it's got to be you, Mary Ellen. Can you look up the definition of tyrannical?
Yeah, give me a minute.
I ask because I want to know if the definition of tyrannical matches what we have today. In my mind, it does, but I could be wrong. But when the government becomes tyrannical, it is incumbent on us, the people, to overthrow it.
Okay, it says here, exercising power in a cruel or arbitrary way. It's characteristic of tyranny, oppressive and controlling.
Well, then I would say, would you not, that applies today? Mary Ellen?
Yep, it's the definition of tyranny as a government or ruler with total power, run by a cruel dictator.
Well, we don't have a quote-unquote cruel dictator, but we've got a cruel Congress that will one day lead to a cruel dictator of sort.
A tyrant is a sovereign who uses, or other ruler, who uses power oppressively or unjustly. Any person in a position of authority who exercises power oppressively or despotically.
Well, that's enough to me, folks, that defines our government. So do we pay attention to that quote, or just the ones Pelosi wants us to remember? Anyway, with that, what questions have we got, Mary Ellen? It's Friday and I'm hogging the...
Can they impeach more than once?
Yes. Yes, they can. As a matter of fact, they have made no secret of it, that if he walks away from this one, they will impeach him again.
Somebody said that the Democrats are domestic enemy combatants. Trump swore an oath to protect America, So he's required to use the military to lock the Democrats up. Is that right?
No, that is not right. Let me explain. For the president to use the military, to go after an enemy, a domestic enemy, the president has to go and get a vote from Congress allowing him to do so. He will not get such a vote out of Congress. So no, he cannot do it. That is something he can't do stand alone. What's next?
There's a vet in Idaho that has filed treason charges against Congress and is asking others to do the same.
I do not disagree with that. I do not disagree with that. I don't know if such a filing will pass Rule 11, frivolous lawsuit, but it's worth trying. Now, it may be to the person that filed that lawsuit, you might want to not use treason, simply because treason would be tough to get past Rule 11, the frivolous lawsuit. You might want to look at a different language that accomplishes the same thing, such as malfeasance. You might want to use a writ of mandamus against Congress, against the House. See, a writ of mandamus is when someone is elected to office to do a job, and then when they don't do it, the voters, the taxpayers, have a right to sue under a mandamus action and demand they either do their job or be fired. Now, the House, we know, has devoted almost 100% of their time to impeachment, not to doing the business of the country. But if you notice, Pelosi talks quite often about they have passed some 400 pieces of legislation that have gone over to the Senate and are sitting on whatchamajigger's desk, and he hadn't acted on them. She's doing that to avoid a mandamus. But it would still be worth trying. What else, Miriam?
Zachary, in the whole question of using the military domestically, Zachary says the president can make war for 80 days without consulting Congress, but you're not going to declare war on your own country.
The president cannot, for 80 days, 1 day, the president cannot bring forward the military for a domestic issue without going to Congress. Now, he can against another country or in another country, but where that breaks down, if you go and look at the Pax Comitatus entire law, you will see the president cannot turn the military on anyone inside this country without permission of Congress. What else?
Uh, who can arrest them? Is there anybody who can arrest them?
No. The only people that have jurisdiction over members of Congress are the Congressional Ethics Committee, but it's made up of them, so you won't get any benefit there. And the other is a vote of the people. So the people can do a recall election this close to the actual election. The best thing to do is vote them out. Energize your community. I know a bunch of you are saying, well, I can't do that. I live in a district for the House districts. I live in a House district that is going to vote for whatever person, no matter what. You don't know that. The world has changed in the past 3 years. So maybe if you get out and try, maybe if you get out and actually apply yourself, you may find that there are people in your community that feel just like you. And you might be able to vote out people heretofore that you thought would never be voted out. You got to try. Don't just say, since it's never, it's always been this way, that it'll always be this way. That's not true anymore. The past 3 years, the world has changed. It's different. And it might work, might not. But it certainly won't work if you don't try. What else?
So who can arrest them? Did I ask that already?
What?
Who can? You said the only people who could arrest them would be the ethics committee. Could throw them out. All right.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of Alan Dershowitz and Ken Starr joining Trump's team?
I think it's a good thing. While I do not side with Alan Dershowitz on many things, he has a liberal bent to him, for sure. But in this case, in this matter, his legal knowledge is beneficial. Starr, he could be beneficial in that he's done it before. So I have no problem if they're on the team. I would not want either of them to be the managers for the president. But it certainly would not be bad for them to be a part of the brain trust. What else?
If we end up with a weak Democrat government, how long do you think it would be before America is invaded by a foreign country?
Well, I've given a tentative timeline. Once they get the presidency and the Senate, within 6 months, they will nationalize the banks. And within 6 months to a year of when they're sworn in, 6 months to 1 year of when they're sworn in, we will be a full-throated socialist/communist nation. May not call it that, but that's what we'll be. And then once the people realize what's happened to them, which will be some point in the latter part of the year, they will bring in the forces to keep us and put us in and keep us in submission. And that's when the forces that are in Cuba will be brought in.
Okay, near the beginning when we first started, somebody was asking, you talked yesterday about the 51 votes needed, the 51 and only 51, and how close they are to 51. And then today you said it takes 67 to throw him out. So what's the difference between the 51 and the 67? Which is the necessary number for actually throwing him out?
It depends on the path they choose to use to get rid of him. If they intend to walk him out, slow roll it out, and bring witnesses and keep building evidence, then it's the 51. Each issue will be determined by the vote of 51 senators. And then you end up with a cumulative effect when they've got enough Republican senators to have been beaten over the head by the different evidence that they brought in, and their constituents have finally gotten, to believe it, then the actual getting rid of him will be the 67. Now, that's a slow roll, slow walk. They could, if they've got it right now, if they believe they've got it now, which I don't think they're willing to do, they could call for the vote Tuesday. I don't think they will, but they could. If that explains it. And it's complicated. Maybe I'm not doing a good job of explaining it, and I'm sorry. But that's what's going on with Trump's team, working out the scenarios. Which scenario are they going to use to get rid of the president? And we just don't know yet. So you have to deal with all the options and have workaround strategies for every option. And it's very difficult, especially when you don't know what they've done, what they've got. We don't know we don't know how many Republican senators the Democrats already have that have secretly planned, when needed, to vote out the president. We don't know. What else?
Okay, Soma says, please ask Larry if he knows about the petition of remonstrance to the state legislature and the House of Representatives under Mason Manual, under parliamentary rules. Hang on. Under
Now say that again.
Okay, petition of remonstrance to the state legislature and the House of Representatives under Mason Manual, under parliamentary rules, under Jefferson legislative rule.
Do not.
Okay.
Do not.
So Renee's asking, can we call our senators and say no more witnesses?
Hold off until next week. I would prefer you hold off now making any calls until next week. And we will coordinate our calls with what the administration is going to be doing with their defense of the president. We need continuity. We need continuity between what we're doing and what they're doing. And that's what we will have next week.
And Pelosi is saying that she easily has the 67.
Well, she may very well, but Pelosi's also a liar.
So XPR or XRP is asking, do you know anything about the guillotines in FEMA?
Yeah, that's not true.
James, you keep
Yes, I checked that out. That is absolutely 1,000,000% not true. Verified. Guarantee you that's not true.
James, you have asked over and over again about the militia storming DC and removing and arresting the Democrats. I mean, I don't understand why this is the third time you've asked something like that. So,
Well, it's up to Mary Ellen. He can ask it over and over. I'll say the same answer. Today, there's no such thing. There is no such thing as a citizen's arrest. And there definitely is no such thing as a citizen's arrest of members of Congress. They are untouchable. By law, they're untouchable. That manner of getting rid of them.
Okay, this Mason's Manual, section 73, says the people of each state are vested with the sovereign authority through their elected representative in a legislature.
What?
It says, Mason's Manual, the people of each state are vested with the sovereign authority through their elected representative in a legislature.
Yes, they are. I think that's what it's saying.
Mm-hmm.
If it is saying that members of Congress, I'm paraphrasing, if it's saying members of Congress are elected to represent the people of the state, yes. I think it's what it's saying. I don't know. I don't know what that's saying. I'm sorry.
Somas says one needs to speak to Larry. I don't know what you mean by that, Somas. You are speaking to him right now. So why do the people at Congress say we are the ones in charge of overseeing Congress?
What?
You know, if we can't arrest them, then why are we the ones in charge of overseeing Congress?
We're in charge of overseeing Congress through our vote and the people we elect to represent us in Congress. That's how we control them. We elect the people we send there. If we send bad people, which we have done, once they get there, we're screwed. And that's what we are. Once we elect them to Congress, folks, they're there. That's why we have to be better. We have to be more attentive to who we elect. And for so many years, we've given in. We've been lazy. We've been lazy about picking our elected officials. And now we're paying for it, big time. The good news is we've got an election coming up in November. And we could do a great deal of cleaning house if we'll vote right in November. And if we can get people to show up and vote. That's the point of people have got to get out and vote. That's why we say if you don't vote this election, you did vote. You voted for the Democrats, or you voted for whichever candidate the Democrats put forward as president.
Do you know when they're going to roll out the new rules to stop the election fraud, or what's going to be coming out about that?
Do not. Do not. But I would imagine a couple of months before the election, they will they will hold it close to their chest as long as they can, because if they make it known what they're doing to block some of the election fraud, they'll give them time to come up with new ways, different ways. So they're going to hold it close.
Okay, so they're not
as long as they can.
So they won't use it for the primaries. They'll save it for November.
Yes.
So then they can rig the election to get the incumbent back.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
When do you think the new dollar backed by gold will come in? We need to beat the Chinese, or they'll be the owners of the U.S. and the world.
Say that again.
Ken asked, when do you think the new dollar backed by gold will come in? We have to beat the Chinese, or they'll be the owners of the U.S. and the world.
I don't know. I do not know. As a matter of fact, I don't even know, folks, if we have enough gold anymore to back our currency. I don't know if we do. As a matter of fact, if you ask me and pin me down, I'm going to say we don't. What else?
Somas is asking if there's a way to talk to you or Skype with you or email you about this Mason, whatever she's talking about.
The best thing to do is to text me, please.
All right. Rather than you giving that number right now because you're so busy, Somas, my number is in the description box under the video here. It's also on the website under the donate page. So text me and I will give you Larry's number directly so you can get in touch with him.
But he'll have to text me, because getting me on the phone right now from 6 in the morning till 12 or 1 at night, I'm on it solid.
Yeah.
Usually.
So what's going to happen with Pence? People have been asking some questions about Pence. I can't remember all of them.
Well, right now, they're aiming at Trump. But as they get into this trial, especially if they bring this Curtis or whatever his name is, they bring his stuff in, they'll start roping Pence in on it as well. No one knows exactly the tack they're going to use to get rid of Pence. And to be honest, right now, all the energy and brain power that the White House can muster is being used to fight for the president.
Yeah, they have to do that first. We have somebody who lives in Scotland who's asking about what you think of the European Union. Is there a possibility that NATO could send in assassins to take out Congress for us?
I doubt it. I doubt it. We won't get there that way. We won't. That will not work. Congress is our problem. Yours and mine, folks. And we've got to activate, motivate, and fire up people around us to vote these scumbags out this time. This time. Vote them out.
What are we going to, yeah, I have one more question, but I'm going to jump in here from what you just said. What if we can't get the incumbents out during the primary and then we're stuck with an incumbent Republican versus the Democrat?
Well, right now, we are going to have to realize the worst case is a Republican, even a scumbag Republican, is better than a Democrat. There's not much we can do. You know, if you want to get rid of an incumbent Republican, then get involved. If there's opposition for a primary, get involved and help the opponent. Try to help the opponent of the incumbent win. I mean, work hard to help them win.
Yeah.
But if you fail, there's make no doubt about it. You must not allow the Democrats to go back in and take any seats in the House or the Senate. You must not. We see how that's worked out for us in the House.
Yeah. So those of us that are in blue states have got to get involved in the election to help our Republicans to defeat them.
Yes, you've got to. You must. You must. And I know, I know I'm asking you to work. I know I'm asking you to do stuff, but you got to do it. This election's everything, folks. This election is everything. One other question, and then we got to go. I've got to get back on the phone.
Yeah. Somebody says reciprocity. Do you think the Democrats fight this? I don't know what. Do you understand that?
What did you say? You're cutting out.
Reciprocity. Do you think the Democrats fight this?
Do I think the Democrats what it?
Will fight reciprocity?
Yes. Yes, they'll fight reciprocity. Reciprocity, folks, means, now, if we get into reciprocity, what that means is if the Democrats win and get to bring a witness in to testify, then the Republicans are going to get to bring a witness of their choice in to testify. So you would think, for example, the Democrats would want that, which they don't. But if it gets to reciprocity, we've already taken a big loss, because that means there's going to be witnesses. The object is there shouldn't be any witnesses. The witnesses should have been a part of the House proceedings, not the Senate. If the Senate starts allowing witnesses, then Pelosi has taken control of the Senate. They're running it. And that's wrong. With that, folks, I've got to get on the call. Thank you to those that helped yesterday. We've got a fight on our hands, guys. We've got a fight on our hands. This weekend, make your mind up, please. This is not a game. This is not some joke. This is not some overreacting. You got to make your mind up whether you're in or out.
Yeah. Do you want a free country or not?
Yes. So anyway, guys, I've got to go. Okay. Y'all have a good weekend, and I will see you Monday.
Thanks, Larry. I hope. Thank you. All right, folks. Oh, shoot. I forgot to put up the banner. I'll do that right now. Just remember, Larry's PayPal account is the fastest way to get help to him. Anything you can do to help him. Weekends are always, always, always hard. And he doesn't have this program. He doesn't have, he is, before Christmas, he started work at 6 a.m. and he was going till 4 a.m. day after day after day, which is probably what contributed to his health breaking down so badly over Christmas. He's barely hanging on, and even though we've got him on the coming in through the streaming through the computer, you can hear his voice going, and he's gonna now be on the phone till probably midnight. So, and then he's still got to get his treatment and everything else that he has to do. So thank you, Julie, for fasting and praying. Thank you for your prayer last night. It was wonderful. We really appreciate it. And do whatever you can to help Larry. I'm not going to belabor that a whole lot, but Larry, don't use his first name. It's his last name only. NicholsLive@AOL.com. The website NicholsLive.com has the link to the PayPal. It has his mailing address for sending cash only. He cannot cash any checks or money orders. If you want to send a check, you have got to send it through me. I have a bank account for him it's my account, but I use it to pay his phone bill and send him money through PayPal. The website with the donate page also has my phone number, and so you can, and that is also listed in the comment box under here, that information. The phone numbers for Mitch McConnell, the script for that is in the comment box, description box under the video here, and it is also on the website NicholsLive.com. NicholsLive.com gives you a chance to buy Larry's book, 28 Years to Nowhere. He's got several chapters describing the impeachment of Bill Clinton, talks about Ken Starr. We've got the bumper sticker. Let's see, sorry, this is all mirror, so Never Socialism bumper stickers are available. And if you want the t-shirt, Never Socialism, Larry's the one that designed this. So I know it's an expensive shirt, but just remember, this is the best and most expensive ink you can buy in this, made in this country. The t-shirts are the best quality, made in the USA. So, Larry really does try to go with good quality, so the shirts themselves are very expensive to make, and he does need a little bit of money from it in order to be able to keep going. And so if you buy a shirt, he gets a little bit of a cut, which is, why the shirts are a little more expensive than you find elsewhere. But the bright yellow of the Never Socialism banner is eye-catching and will help you start conversations. And that's what we need to be doing, is talking to people about what's going on. I'm going to say a little bit about how important God places, how important God talks about unity. It's very important to be unified, and the division in this country is not good. The fact that we are 50-50, half the country loves Trump, half the country hates Trump. The Democrats know that, and they're capitalizing on it and trying to get more than the 50% of the country supporting them. We have to be working hard to do that as well. I've had, with the trouble I've had with my house this week, I've had workmen in here, and so I've been talking to them about the coming of communism. And I can't throw everything I know at them. I just throw out a little bit and to get them thinking. And I wish we had business cards that we could all have and be able to share information and say, hey, here's the information on the show. But you can make something up of your own to pass out to people that you talk to and say, hey, listen to this YouTube. If you can't remember the name, here's a, just put it on construction paper, write something out, do something that you can hand to people and that you're talking to, and say, hey, pay attention to this website or pay attention to this YouTube and listen, we've got work to do. And the other thing I'm going to do, assignment this weekend for you guys, think of everybody that you listen to on YouTube who is a Trump supporter, who's a conservative, get their contact information. And as soon as we are ready to make phone calls, I'm not going to tell you to send me that information. If 10 of us are listening to somebody, that all the same people, and all 10 of us tell this person, hey, support this and do it with us, then all the better. So each one of us has got to make up a list of people that we know care about our country, so that we can contact them and say, hey, NicholsLive.com has a script on here and is giving us an assignment. This will work to save our country if we have enough people doing this. we need to rise up. We need to act very quickly and I'll say assertively rather than aggressively. I don't know who Kirk's Law Corner is. I'd appreciate if you'd explain who Kirk's Law Corner is. Anyhow, and I don't see, anything about that. So we have our conference call tonight at that time as well. So the conference call number is in the description box. It's at 9 Eastern, which is 6 Central. 6 Pacific, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 6 Pacific. So we had a really good time of prayer yesterday and conversation, and I encourage you. I appreciate that Julie said she's fasting as well as praying. I can't fast the whole day, but I'm skipping meals, and I have been for today is 827 days of this fast that my fasting group has been on. I've had a few weeks where I haven't been able to do that. My body is just balked. But anyhow, there is a prayer and fasting group on Facebook that you are welcome to join if you are committed to being a prayer warrior. And if you want information about that, just contact me. I'll let you know. So thanks for being here. Have a great weekend. If something emergency-wise comes up, I will be sure to leave a comment under YouTube, or maybe go live again if we have to. I reserve the right to do that. Just give you a message from Larry, or if he wants to come on with an update. Chances are he's going to be too busy trying to recover from the week's work or continuing to work all day. This business of him, working 20 plus hours a day in his physical condition is really rough on his body. But oh yeah, Frank, I'm sure Satan is laughing and thinking that he's going to win, and we know who will win in the end. But in the meantime, talking about unity versus division, I don't know if any of the rest of you have posted especially yesterday's video on the Facebook or Twitter or anywhere else. I usually post the videos on Facebook, not every day, but most of the time I do, and including Jason's. And yesterday I posted what he did, and I got a scathing comment from a woman, and it made me feel very, very sad to think that we can't be gracious to one another if we're supposedly on the same team. And I know there are people who think that Larry's very negative, but you've got to realize the difference between negativity and reality. We are in a situation that is very, very dangerous, and tears and sorrow and there is righteous, even Jesus was righteously angry, and he took action. He wasn't just about words, he was about action. And don't forget what he did in the temple when they were selling things and just cheating people. Anyhow, we need to be understanding that we come from different personalities, we come from different backgrounds, but if we're on the same team, let's give one another grace. And watch your words carefully. I'm saying that to myself too. I find myself wanting to be very harsh sometimes in some of the things I want to post, and then I have to erase it and say either I don't post anything or I change the way I say this. So we need to continue to be kind, but we need to stop being complacent. We have got to get active. So we haven't closed the show yet, Chris, but I am closing it right now. So Brett, the answer to that is yes, absolutely, several. Thanks for being here. We will talk Monday if it's an emergency. So I'm available by phone. very busy. You can see I'm in my paint shirt again today, so I'm headed back to paint. Got the paintbrush waiting and the rollers waiting too, so I'm going to have fun. Ha ha ha. Thanks a lot, folks. God bless you, and we'll talk again on Monday.